All right, so welcome back and welcome to another episode of my podcast. Thank you very much for coming by. I love doing this for you, and actually I love doing it for me too, so it works out good for both. So, I'm sure by now everybody's heard me ranting and raving about Bitcoin. As a matter of fact, you probably saw my piece back on 9/27/17. Bitcoin, boom or buzzkill? You know where I stand with that. It's a buzzkill. And you know how I know? Because I'm smart, that's how. No, actually, I was reading, yeah, I can read, Modern Trader, March 2018. And a guy by the name of Christopher Williams, who's a partner in the Lens Legal Group. And they work with broker-dealers in my industry, venture capital and IPOs and new money and things like that. And they're all over cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. And you know what happens with stuff like this? It's new. It's exciting. It's kind of like the new kid in school. Everybody wants to get to know them. Usually, you find out they're nothing special. Sometimes you find out they're toxic. That's what's happening with cryptocurrencies. Don't believe me? Let me show you why. Two new players are emerging into the cryptocurrency market as we speak. And boy, I know a lot about both of them, and I'm not really a big fan of either one of them. The first one are regulators. Yeah, the SEC, FINRA, the United States government, everybody's trying to get in the act and regulate this crap. Well, they've been doing it for quite a while and they haven't been doing a very good job. And the other horse in the race, the scammers, the fraudsters. Yeah, I know a little about them too. Well, let's go. Think about it. There's a group out there called, or there's an item out there called ICOs, International Coin Offerings. Almost weekly, you're seeing a new cryptocurrency. Hell, Lloyd Blankfein, my buddy, former Goldman Sachs CEO, king, whatever he was, he put over $1 billion in cryptocurrencies. Again, and I've talked about that, not of his money, of his investors' money. They want to have their own Bitcoin. The Russian government, the North Korean government, want to issue their own cryptocurrency. Well, there's a problem with that. Now, the SEC gives you a generic rule of thumb. 7 of them, actually. 8 of them, really. But we'll call it 7. For any investor to take note of before making any type of investment at all, whether it's a stock or a bond or a REIT or a limited partnership, anything at all. Be wary of promise of high return with little or no risk. Good advice. Be wary of overly consistent rates of return. Be wary of unregistered investment advisors, unlicensed solicitors, secretive or complex strategies of investing, how they invest their money, or lack of liquidity. So different terms, and they're all pretty easy to understand at first blush. Trust me, they're not. You buy General Motors stock, you pretty much have an idea what General Motors does. If you don't, you shouldn't be buying stock in the first place. I know they're in other industries too that you wouldn't know, but for the most part, they make automobiles, automobile parts. They make automobiles. They're in the transportation and automotive industry. What's a Bitcoin? You know what a Bitcoin is? Show you how old I am. In 1776, our country was born. In 1976, we celebrated the bicentennial. My dad, God rest his soul, Italian immigrant. I love him. I talk about him. He got the idea. He went to the bank and he bought rolls and rolls of 1976 bicentennial quarters. And he kept them in a big shoebox because that's what old Italian guys in Brooklyn did. They kept their money in a shoebox. He didn't have a lot, but he did. And when he died, I said, wow, I found them. I said, oh, okay. And I called a numismatist, a numismatic dealer, coin guy. You know what they're worth? 25 cents. It's no value. It's perception of value. What backs a Bitcoin? Yeah, good answer. I'll say it again. What backs a Bitcoin? Don't adjust your volume. Nothing. I can say it's worth anything. You know, I told you the story about when I was in grad school. What's a Picasso worth? And all these boneheads were sitting there with me, all these at NYU, actually, liberal-leaning, free-thinking Democrats. Did I say that? Oh, it's worth this, it's worth that. And I laughed. Professor, what are you laughing at? I said, it's worth what the next guy's willing to pay. Just like my house, just like my car, just like a slice of pizza at the local pizzeria. If Giuseppe charges $8 a slice, well, there's two options. One, it better be a hell of a slice of pizza. Or two, Giuseppe's not selling many pies. So there's no value to this. It's a perceived value. But here's something that you really need to think about. And you can maybe explain it to me. Because I don't know. On September 18th, 2014, a U.S. District Court in Easton, Texas, found that Trendon T. Shavers was guilty of operating a Ponzi scheme. We all know what a Ponzi scheme is. And he ordered his firm to pay over $40 million in fines. And, of course, to cease and desist the Ponzi scheme. Notice Ponzi scheme's called? Nope, not Madoff Investments. Nope, not even Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Bitcoin. Look it up. September 18th, 2014. U.S. District Court, Easton, Texas. Easton District in Texas. Ponzi scheme. Bitcoin. Again, 9/27/17. Bitcoin, boom or buzzkill. It's a buzzkill. If you put your money in Bitcoin, you may have made a lot of money. But think about it. I like to break things down. I get a lot of compliments that I break things down for people that they understand it real simply. Seems like it's very complex, but after they're done talking to me, it's very simple. Maybe because I'm a simple kind of guy. I don't know. Remember when you were a kid, you played musical chairs? There were 4 heinies and only 3 seats. Don't you be the heiny that's holding the Bitcoin when nobody wants to pay. Imagine buying Bitcoin from Putin and then calling him up a year later and say, hey, I got my statement and my Bitcoin investment is up 250%. I'd like to sell my Bitcoin. Niet. It's a rigged game. You can't win this game. You know, I just got a little flash in my head, and that happens once in a while. You know what it's like? And Bill Ackerman will love me for this. It's like Herbalife, New Skin, and all these other MLMs. And don't be ashamed, because everybody's tried them, and everybody's got a garage full of crap. Water filters and skincare products and whatever, better mousetraps. That's what Bitcoin is. It's a pyramid scheme. It's a Ponzi scheme. You get the next guy in, you buy from him, you tell somebody else, he buys 2, he buys 2, he buys 2. And sooner or later, there's nobody left standing. You can't sell them. There's no market for it. There's no price for it. There's no regulatory officials backing it. You, my friend, are done. And on that note, so am I. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.